Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Road to Glory. We're here in the Impact Zone in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and we have another episode of Impact Wrestling. Just me reading off the script Chad gave me. Again, like we said last episode, busy boy. He doesn't have time like he used to. So, in order to make this series work, he sends me the script. I run through it. I give you, and I just read it. We go through it. I am a little under the weather right now, but the grind doesn't stop. I'll sleep when I'm dead. But let's get into an episode of TNA Impact. We left off last episode of Impact with the second well, maybe not even a car accident. I guess it wasn't a car accident, but we left off with Eddie Edwards being found unconscious and bloodied backstage. Who did it? Who done it? It's a murder mystery. Maybe we find out who is the culprit tonight. Let's get into the show. We start off with Jillian Jacobs coming out to the ring, and she has a microphone in her hand, and she says, they are deeply saddened on what happened. They are worried about Eddie Edwards' health, and everyone in the TNA organization, the corporate side of this, where they are launching an investigation on who attacked Eddie Edwards, who left him beaten down, bloodied, and her first suspect is she said she's working to get the footage for the incident, but she does want to question some people herself. And her first suspect is the man that Eddie Edwards beat to become the number one contender for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, and that is Big Moose. So she asked Moose to come down to the ring, and Moose, apprehensive, he doesn't want to be thrown into "I'm the one who did this" kind of thing. And Jillian Jacob, she asked, Moose, where were you last week? Where were you at the exact moment the incident took place? Where were you when Eddie Edwards got beat up? And, Moose denies any plausibility. He says, I did not have nothing to do with this. I don't even know why you would even suspect me of doing such a thing. The one person you should suspect of being a prime suspect is the champion Tessa Blanchard. And the crowd is like, ooh, it's Tessa Blanchard. I think she probably heard what happened and what was said and comes straight down to the ring. And she says, Moose, there is no world in this universe, galaxy, whatever, that I would even think about taking out my competition with a cheap shot, with a blindside attack. I can take out my competition in the ring, in the wrestling ring, and right there. I don't need to attack them from behind. She doesn't. She then challenges Moose to a match later tonight. She says, "Oh, you think I need to do that? I could beat you right here." And Moose accepts it, and Jillian Jacobs makes it the main event tonight. So tonight, in our main event, Moose takes on Tessa Blanchard. We move on to our opening match, Madison Rayne and not Angelina Love. It's Deonna Purrazzo taking on Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz. Steelz and Hogan lost in a tag team match against Su Yung and Havoc last week. But this week, they get the job done, getting a win over Madison Rayne and Deonna Purrazzo in 10:26 when Tasha Steelz taps out the Deonna Purrazzo. After the match, though, Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz cut a little promo, not even cutting a promo. They call out Su Yung and Havoc, and they want a rematch next week. We move on backstage. The Commonwealth Kid, Corey Jarvis, and Ken Shamrock, the Hall of Famer, are backstage, and they talk about how disrespectful the cousins of Cody Deaner and cousin Jake were last week. And Ken Shamrock wants to shut these punks up. So next week, Ken Shamrock will go one-on-one with cousin Jake. We go on to our next match of tonight. It is Kylie Rae taking on Taya Valkyrie. These two women go one-on-one. They have a good match until until Leah Vaughn comes out and attacks both women, making the referee have no other decision other than calling it a draw, no match, no contest. Leah Vaughn taking out Kylie Ray and Taya Valkyrie. Now, why? Why would Leah Vaughn do this? It's because Leah Vaughn has lost in her way in the DNA against both of these women. Taya and Kylie both have wins. They both have pinfall victories over Leah Vaughn. And Leah Vaughn, these two women got in the way of Leah Vaughn getting a legitimate contract with this company. And it seems like ever since she has joined the side of Gail Kim that there's a little mean streak in Leah Vaughn. And she took it out on the two women that, let's be honest, kind of stopped her from becoming a TNA contracted wrestler. Leah Vaughn, though, destroying Kylie Ray and Taya Valkyrie. But here comes the cavalry. Zoe Starks comes out and saves the day. Good for Zoe Stark. Next match up, we got a tag team match. TJP and Falabal taking on XXXL of AC Romero and Larry D. And I wouldn't say poor match, a great match. TJP and Falabal defeat XXXL in 8:46 with a jumping neckbreaker from former Cruiserweight champion TJP. They have great chemistry, excellent chemistry together, by the way. Excellent. A bad, rough night for AC Romero. Larry D got a 22, so what's he up to? I don't even know. We are backstage now with the Deaners, the cousins, whatever you want to call them. They say next week, Cousin Jake, he took out Super Eric, and now next week he's going to retire and end a Hall of Fame career in Ken Shamrock. Cousin Jake, Ken Shamrock next week. That might be a banger. I hope it is. We got our next match. It features the NWA Tag Team Champion James Storm taking on Daga in a good match here. James Storm, former TNA World Heavyweight Champion, former TNA legend. I wouldn't even say former, current TNA legend. James Storm gets the win in 13:41 with his patented Eye of the Storm. Isn't that the Hurricane move? Huh. Speaking of Hurricane, Ace Austin is in Hawaii as he is enjoying the weather, enjoying the sun, enjoying the vacation. He is on the beaches, the nice, clean beaches of Maui. And he's got the X Division Championship on, and he is just living life. Ever since he became the X Division Champion at Slammiversary, Ace Austin, he's got he looks cool. He's just a cool guy. Cool guy, Ace Austin. We go into our next match, a 3-on-3 match. The OVE boys of Jake and Dave Christ with Madman Fulton take on the Rascals and Chris Bay. And a pretty good match here. Chris Bay and the Rascals defeat OVE in 11:38 with Suicide pinning Jake Christ with a solution. I don't want to... Chad, please rename him. I don't like saying the word. We move on to our next match, or not even next match. We go backstage. Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley say, look, we're the legends of TNA. We have been here since the beginning, the birth of TNA. We are one of the most acclaimed and decorated tag team champions in the business. Ethan Page, Josh Alexander, they're the future of the tag team division. We see a lot of us in them, and we cannot wait to face them at Unbreakable. But next week, Chris Sabin, my boy, Chris, you got this. You take on Ethan Page next week. Just a little taste of what a match, of the quality of the wrestlers in these two tag teams. Chris Sabin, Ethan Page next week. Our co-main event is up next, though. Shark Boy makes his debut. Oh, shell yeah. Shark Boy making his debut, taking on Carly Colon. Carly Colon's been kind of on a roll since joining TNA, getting a win over Scott Steiner. I think it was last week, if I'm not mistaken, and he spit an apple in Scott's face. It was last week. This week he takes on Shark Boy. And in a match, Carly Colon defeats him in 6:49 with a backstabber. Carly Colon, the patented backstabber. He loves that move. I actually do love that move. Let's have that talk. Carly Colon, That backstabber in like '07 when, '06, he could go. He could go. He almost beat John Cena in the Elimination Chamber, New Year's Revolution. Like that was, Carlito was crazy. Carly Colon. Can he make a run in that same, in that same push? Is it main event Carly Colon coming in 2020? We'll have to find out. After the match, though, Carlito grabs his apple, takes a big bite out of it, and spits in the face of Sharp Boy. Backstage, Leah Vaughn is talking to Gail Kim on the phone, and Gail's super excited to hear what Leah Vaughn did tonight. Leah's talking to Gail Kim. Gail Kim's elsewhere tonight, and Leah Vaughn, she's like, yeah, I totally destroyed Kylie Ray and Taya Valkyrie. That bitch Zoe Stark came out of nowhere, but not before I got to whip those two's asses. And Gail Kim, she's like, hell yeah, that's great. And Leah Vaughn, she's like, I gotta go. As Jordan Grace is waiting in the parking lot with a pipe, just putting it in her hands, and then she attacks Leah Vaughn in the locker room, or not the locker room, the backstage, the parking lot. Beats down Leah Vaughn. Well, that moves us to our main event match. Moose coming out first. And then out comes the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Tessa Blanchard. And a good match here, 14:56. Tessa Blanchard defeats Moose with a big pile driver. A massive win for Tessa Blanchard, as she maybe proves to the doubters that maybe she didn't do it. Maybe she didn't she attack Eddie Edwards. Putting her money where her mouth is, saying she doesn't need to use those tactics to get to beat people in the locker room. And then Jillian Jacobs after the match comes out, and she says she's gotten the footage of the attack. Next week we find out the assailant to poor Eddie Edwards. That is going to be TNA Impact a 43. A good show. We will see you for NWA Power up next. Welcome back to another episode of NWA Power. We are live for week 7. Let me fix this. Sorry, I should have done it before, but it doesn't matter. Week 7 of this Road to Glory series, where we try to get NWA and TNA Impact back to where it should be, back to its glory days. We're here on another episode on YouTube of NWA Power, though. Last week we saw Ethan Carter the third, become the new #1 contender to Nick Aldis and the NWA World Championship. And let's just get into the show, because Nick Aldis, Royce Isaacs, and Thomas Latimer, the Strictly Business Boys, head down to the ring to open the show. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Nick Aldis has something to say. Nick, he says, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. Time for the wrestling world to witness yet another masterclass from the man who has redefined what it means to be a champion. For 600 days, I have carried this for over 600 days, sorry. I have carried this NWA World Heavyweight Championship with pride, dignity, and most importantly, skill unmatched by anyone in this industry. So next up is Ethan Carter III, a man who fancies himself as a top-tier talent, a so-called wrestling aristocrat. Well, EC3, you may have a name, you may have a pedigree, but let me make one thing crystal clear. You're stepping into the ring with the national treasure. This just isn't another match for you. This is a defining moment of your career. Because when you stand across the ring from me, you stand across from the best in the world. You're walking into a lion's den, and I am the king of this jungle. So bring your best. Bring everything you've got, Ethan, because when it's all said and done, the results will stay the same. Nick Aldis will be standing tall, still your NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Now, as I prepare to put another name on this long list of those who have tried and failed to take this title from me, let me remind everyone, and he gets cut off as music blares through the speaker here at Full Sail University. And it's Eli Drake and James Storm, because tonight they take on the wild cards of Royce Isaacs and Thomas Latimer in a tag team street fight, the NWA street fight for the NWA tag team championships. The crowd erupts as the champions come down to the ring, and Eli Drake gets in the ring, and he's like, whoa, 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 whoa there, champ. Look, I don't care what's going on between you and Ethan, EC3, MVP, PCP, it doesn't matter. There is business that needs to be handled in the ring, and I'm looking at you two jerk-offs. So, Nick, if you could step aside, please. I don't want to get their blood all over your nice suit. And Nick Aldis says, funny thing here, Eli, their business is also my business. So if you have a problem with them, and he steps right in front of Eli Drake and gets right in his face, you have a problem with me. And the fans are like, oh shit, oh shit. So if you're feeling froggy, Eli, you want to get in a fight, look, all you have to do is jump. And Eli says, this had nothing to do with you, Nick, but if you insist. And Eli Drake throws a punch and hits Nick Aldis right in the face. And then James Storm goes right after Isaacs and Latimer. Nick Aldis rolls out of the ring. And Eli Drake starts moving and starts helping out James Storm. Eli Drake throws Isaacs into the rope, and James Storm hits the rebounding Isaacs with the last call super kick. That causes Isaacs to roll out of the ring, and James Storm follows him and starts fighting him and beating him up, fighting to the back of the backstage. Drake is now he's got Thomas Latimer right where he wants him. He's going to hit the BFT, but Nick Aldis, that slimy champion, from behind, rolls in the ring and hits Eli Drake in the head with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, and Nick Aldis stands tall to start the show. We move on to our opening matchup of the night. James Laurinaitis takes on Ricky Starks in a one-on-one match. James Laurinaitis continues his role, defeating Ricky Starks in 501 with a spear. Our next match, as the NWA World Television Champion Zicky Dice, outlandish Zicky Dice, taking on the Question Mark, and he defeats him in 7:38 by pinfall. Big win for Zicky Dice. We go backstage. We get a vignette. Tommy Mercer, former TNA legend, former U.S. Army soldier man. He makes his NWA debut next week. You're gonna have to, even with pre-taping, this needed. Tommy Mercer did not do well without a script to follow, even with pre-taping allowing multiple takes. So this man is just like me, needing multiple takes to record a video that's not live. Perfect. Tommy Mercer, I'm with you. Our next matchup, Allison Kay continues her roll through the women's division, beating Ashley Vox here tonight in 609 with a modified go-go platter. That sounds like something food-related, as a go-go platter. Allison Kay, she's defeated Marty Bell, she defeated Melina, she's now defeated Ashley Vox. Is she next in line to Camille, who is the NWA World Women's Champion? Camille did take out Thunder Rosa last week, and we're told that Thunder Rosa is in the hospital still. She's not here she's not medically cleared to even leave the hospital, so she's not here tonight. So best wishes go out to Thunder Rosa in her recovery. Backstage, James Storm is checking on his partner, Eli Drake. He's like, Eli, you good? Look, I'm sorry. The blood in my eyes got the best of me, and I had to go beat the shit. And Eli Drake's like, hey, James, don't worry about me. They could beat me up, but they cannot kill the big dog. I'll be fine. But let's go out there and show them why we are the NWA Tag Team Champions. And they do a little fist bump, and they go out to the ring. The Tag Team Championships are on the line. Up next in the NWA Street Fight, It's a good show. And our main event now, I think someone's out in my front yard, I think. Let me go look. No, it doesn't matter. I don't. Yeah, but we have that tag team match here, 2-on-2. Awesome match, street fight. They fight each other all over the ring, all over the studio stage here in Full Sail Arena. But the wild cards, they end up winning because Nick Aldis comes out and attacks. He distracts. He attacks Eli Drake, and that causes them to lose the match. As now you have new tag team champions in the ring in NWA. As Nick Aldis helps Royce Isaacs and Thomas Latimer dethrone the tag team champions. But unfortunately, we also see James Storm suffering a fractured arm, and that's not good. That's the worst thing that could have happened. James Storm broke a fractured arm. We wish him the best. And we move on to the end of what we think is going to be the end of NWA Power. Thanks, Robert Gibson. Oh, Thomas Latimer broke his arm. Oh, Thomas Latimer throwing James Storm off the top rope. He was going for something, and he threw James Storm off the top rope onto the, let's say, the announcer table, and he crashed through and broke his arm. A tough break for James Storm. Really tough break in his arm. But we go backstage, and we get a camera shot of some man on the ground. As the camera zooms out a little bit, you can tell that is Aaron Stevens laid out. And you can see the feet of presumably the man who did it, the man that attacked Aaron Stevens. As the camera still continues to pan out backwards and backwards, and it goes up, we see that man is the bastard Kevin Kiley. And he says, NWA, Aaron Stevens, do I have your attention now? And that is how we end the show. A 49, a perfectly good show. I got distracted in that main event because I think someone's on my front porch. I do not know. We're going to go find out. I might have to fight them and hit them with a BFT. Doesn't matter. Big win for the Wildcards as they are your new tag team champions. That is your NWA Power. That is your Week 7. We'll see you for Week 8 as we lead up for TNA Impact. We're going up to Unbreakable. We'll see you there.